It'd be good to talk a little bit about how AI helps us speed up decision making and optimization, particularly when we're looking across multiple channels. And I know we've been doing that a little bit already, haven't we?
Yeah, I think the thing to remember with AI-driven experimentation or optimization is that it's definitely not a new thing at all. These kind of techniques have been being used by our specialists and specialists across the industry for years and years now. There are distinct products that we're all really familiar with, like Performance Max, for example, across the Google stack, that have helped us really take the pressure off some of that manual, repetitive work and helps us focus on some of the more strategic thinking that guides how we define experimentation and optimization, really letting the technology do the hard work. So as we're increasingly talking about AI-driven optimization, it's really an evolution of stuff that we're already doing.
I really feel like we've relied in the past on Google's AI capabilities, Meta's AI capabilities, whereas now brands are increasingly using the capabilities that agencies are developing, or even the large language models that exist centrally elsewhere, and kind of using some of that capability across multiple channels. So rather than using Google's AI on Google platforms, you're using multiple AIs across the entire spectrum.
Yeah, and that's really exciting to be able to bring that optimization outside of those really distinct walled gardens, giving some of that control over optimization decisions back to the marketers, even though we're letting the technology do even more of the lifting than we were before. Actually, that control over certainly things like budget optimization comes back into the marketers or the agency specialists, which I think makes our job much more powerful. I think when we think about how AI is powering in-channel and even cross-channel optimization, being able to deploy media budgets more effectively across multiple channels is starting to get really, really powerful.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in the past, media planning can be considered quite a reactive art, because you have to pull the data from multiple different sources, you have to interpret it in slightly different ways. That takes time. And then analysing, putting together a plan off the back of it is a whole new process. But with AI agents, the idea would be it would take all of the data that's in your warehousing software. It would take data outside of there too, such as keyword search volume and the weather and what your competitors are doing. And it would create a plan in response to that. When brands come to me and they're looking for practical advice on how to prepare for a world where AI agents will make those sorts of decisions, I say start building that data infrastructure now. Secondly, start combining that with third-party data sources so it's all there readily available, and that will save you a ton of time of doing the actual engineering that will lead to using those AI-powered solutions. You spoke earlier about experimentation and how AI can actually improve a performance marketer's approach to experimentation.
I think the important thing to remember when we're building an experimentation plan, we're building that roadmap, is that we've got to be really clear on how we're guiding the technology, where we're asking it to optimize, and what experiments we're asking it to run, what we're trying to understand ultimately off the back of this experimentation roadmap. So that's where the specialists, the human specialists, become even more valuable, because if that sort of day-to-day repeatable technology-driven work is being done automatically, as marketing practitioners, we need to be creatively problem-solving even more so that we're really pushing and guiding that technology in the right way to get the most value out of our experimentation plan.
For sure. And you can talk about automating the day-to-day as best practice. But the trouble is, if everyone's just doing that and they're just doing the best practice, they're kind of stagnant really, and that's how you end up in a performance plateau. So this idea of experimentation beyond best practice and kind of understand what you can do between the machine, between the lines of what the machine is letting you do, can actually have a massive impact on performance.
I think one of the really interesting use cases of AI in experimentation particularly is that as specialists, particularly when we're working on quite complex multi-channel accounts, marketing plans for our clients, there's a risk that we're so full of ideas and we've got loads of things that we want to test, which might end up conflicting, corrupting results. If we want to do a PPC test over here, but we want to do a landing page experimentation test over here in a different channel, what if those experiments end up clashing? There's a really great use case for AI in this process to help us phase accordingly and make sure that when we are running complex experimentation plans, that actually we're delivering the most robust and credible results that we possibly can. It's all about sort of adding that value and that credibility to our experiments.